Yes, yes, it did.
It's a model of a window.
Yes. So,
And I like the
it,
shade. I think the shade is just superb with the detail.
it,
It looks so real.
so I wanted to because these travel trailers obviously they don't come with a lot of wall space and not a lot of color. So I wanted to build myself something to display the trains that I currently have. So spent an evening in the car shop and with some scrap white oak, I put together a basically a slip for the valance that goes over the top of the dinette. It's about 4 inches deep and 64 inches long, and yeah, slips over the valance and bolts in. I don't have any on the side because it's so press fit. The sides are holding themselves up, but I do have one in the center, kind of holding it, and that's what it looks like with some trains on it. So adds a little color. Gives me something nice to look at. It sits right just kind of up above, beyond now sight. That's the bottom of it right there, if you can see. So that was one of the first things I did as a kind of a for fun upgrade within this trailer. One of the other things that I've worked on adjacent to that, stop sharing the screen and go back here. A buddy of mine, Dustin, we all know Dustin, he gifted me this nice Athearn roundhouse. I think it maybe just Athearn itself, but a nice little Origani that I went and did a couple of different things to it. It had a plastic injection molded load in it that even when I painted it with a flat color, it just didn't quite look right. So I've got some sacred Silverton dirt in a couple of different canisters. On a trip back from Silverton, I stopped by with a company truck and loaded up a bucket full of stuff and simply just sifted it into different sizes and shapes practically with the gold prospecting gear that I have. Works great for sifting down dirt into the tiny stuff. So with that, I took the injection molded load, put a heavy layer of Mod Podge on it, sprinkled the first layer on. As that dried up, I mixed up some wood glue and water, kind of a most water, like a maybe 75% water and 25% wood glue. Shook that up, dribbled over the top of it, and did a second coat. So you end up with this really nice detailed rock load. And inspired by the Colorado Model Railroad Museum loads that they had in their Origanis on their train, I installed a few neodymium magnets in the load so it can just be lifted out nice and easy. Pretty fun and simple.
Oh, wait, hold that up again. And the bottom. The bottom, like you did. Oh, wait, yeah, that was good too.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a pair
There we
of
go.
magnets
Awesome.
down underneath there. I started with one. One couldn't get through the dirt layer, so I went with two, and
Oh,
yeah, it dangles pretty nicely.
wow.
Yeah, works out. I like that little bit of extra realism that it adds to it. The other little upgrade that I did on this is some of you were familiar when I was talking about prototype couplers. Prototype couplers is out there. They're bought up the old Surgeon Engineering operating knuckle couplers. So there is a pair of them on this particular car. I'm going to try and tip the screen down here and give you guys a little demonstration of it because I love these things. They're so much fun to operate here. So let's see if I can. All right. Is that too dark? Can you guys see that okay?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll just start on a kind of one of these more open ones here. But the coupler itself does have a knuckle
Mm-hmm.
that locks into place. There's these teeny tiny little I don't even know if the camera's going to pick them up, and of course they're not going to want to cooperate. There's some you might see them rolling around, and there's some tiny little ball bearings that go on the insides of these knuckles. So it's a two-part casting, basically the coupler body and then the top of the coupler body that get glued together with the knuckle in there, and the ball bearing gets dropped down in. So with this nifty little uncoupler bar, one side has a little brass pin on it, the other side has just the magnet, well, magnet and brass pin. You can hover the magnet over the top of the knuckle with the pin in there and open the knuckle when you have a car set out on their own, sort of thing. And the knuckle just can get simply closed by jamming it closed. And to show you just how easily these things operate, I'm going to take the side that just has the magnet, put it over the top of both of the knuckles, and pull the cars apart. No fiddling, no nothing. And they go back together with just the lightest little tap. And they're very strong. I'd put them up there with the durability of metal KD couplers. But yeah, with them being able to operate so easy, and you don't even really need to touch the equipment at all either. Just kind of hover it and move it.
Wow.
I've got a couple cars and a locomotive that have these equipped on them. I might be in town for the spring meetings, so if that ends up happening, then I'll bring them by and we'll let you all play with them a little bit, because I'm in love with these couplers. They're just a lot of fun to mess with.
Would it work like one is one of those couplers and the other one's a KD?
So I was doing a little experimenting with it. I'll grab this it's a SP boxcar that's got KDs on it, and I'll open that up. I was finding that the compatibility is a little weird, but they do indeed couple and hang on to KDs as well. But I think for the sake of for the spring meet, I might take one of these cars and just put a prototype coupler on one end and a KD on the other, as that adapter car like you're talking about. But they seem to operate with the KDs pretty okay as well. Just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
wasn't
if you put it on
wasn't
your
aware.
engine, right, would it be easier? Because usually it's the engine, right? You're coupling and uncoupling at, or
Right. And I did put some on this Rock Island U-boat.
oh, there you go, Bruce.
I'm a big fan of the bankruptcy blue on the Rock Island units.
Yeah.
I've been that way since I was a kid. So when one of these came up for fairly decent price, it's just all right. I gotta have it. I gotta relive that childhood nostalgia.
Oh, wait, hold that up again. Nice and slow. Hold steady. All right, picture there. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a lot of weather and rusting on that and dirt.
Yeah, for sure. They're very easy to dirty white. That is for sure. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. I've got kits that haven't started just yet. I'll probably get to that as I'm getting cabin fever, because it's a little easy to do in such a tiny little space.
Well done.
I wasn't aware that somebody had picked up the sergeant's line. So
Yeah.
readily available.
Yes. I believe you can search believe you can search HO scale prototype couplers, and you should be able to find their website. They've currently got quite a few different options when it comes to couplers. For starters, I bought their 6-pack of E type or E50 type couplers, and the 6-packs will run you about $20. The little uncoupling tool here I think was 10, and you can alternatively, a little hard to see it, but there's a jig, 3D printed jig that you can assemble the knuckles on. It makes it really easy to put them together. You assemble them upside down and stack them as is.
That's interesting. I know the club in Denver, the nearsighted narrow gauges, some of them were interested in it, an HON3 and had the rolling stock, but it shows they stuck with standard KDs because there were operating issues always. Well, there's always operating issues at a show, but
Right.
yeah, anyway.
The couplers do require a little bit of working in per se. Once you get them assembled, then they got the instructions on their website. You line the interior of the coupler and the knuckle face with graphite, so your number 2 pencil, your mechanical, and then you push the knuckles together while they're straight up and down, so in their correct position and not inverted, and you burnish them. You burnish the insides of the faces. You do that a little bit, and then you pull them apart to where the knuckles are just holding on to each other like that, and then you burnish them that way. And that removes any, and they're so minimal, but it removes any flashing from the mold. And then you can, once you've done burnishing them, you flip them upside down, and then you check them for operation, because that ball bearing will fall into the top end of the knuckle, and then the knuckles are kind of free to move in and out, and that just helps work them in. The more you work them in, then they operate super duper easy, and yeah, graphite's the perfect lubrication for that.
Or burnishing them that way, if that's doable with KDs as well. That sounds like an interesting technique on that, because frankly, the KD instructions always for burnishing couplers and so forth are not very good. It's an interesting concept if it would work with KDs.
They kind of do. It's a little interesting. They do mate. They just the couplers.
No, I mean not just the mating, but using that same kind of technique to burnish KDs.
Right. Yeah,
All
that's
right,
what I got.
thanks, Kyle.
Mhm.
Great.